If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch. Buy our merch indeed. And a child shall lead them. Vinny will be back. Un momento. Toe hider giants who walk with men. I've literally never heard of these people before, so I'm a little bit curious to know, but I guess it's got to be in the prog realm, so I guess we kind of know what we're walking into, but not really. How is everyone? My stream will be filled with tender morsels.
Who said that?
Misery head.
Tender morsels of what?
I don't know. Honey.
Is that your coffee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
Just wondering.
It's super, super sweet too.
Gross.
I think that, but I know it's even too sweet for me, which means it's really freaking sweet. Oh, I like this. Did you look at this album cover, babe?
Oh, that's a badass. Yo, send that to me. I'm gonna make that. Is that a mushroom?
Yeah.
That girl is standing on.
She's sitting. I'm gonna send it to you right now. Oh yeah, we don't have a stream photo.
Johnny Melancholy in the house. Johnny Melancholy in the house. All right, guys, here we go. Did you send me? I want that. I want that thing for the screen picture.
I got distracted. Here it comes.
Save to downloads. There we go. All right. Oh, Wacky Tour says that's their thing. Wait, what's their thing? The mushrooms? Are they like a psychedelic? Are they like a psychedelic band?
Did you get it already?
Huh?
The picture? Yeah,
I think it's popping right there. Boom! Look at this picture, guys. This picture is badass. Look at that. So I want to know if these really guys are like, are they like a psychedelic band? Like, are they into that shit? You know, DMT shit. Everybody and their mother's into that shit all of a sudden now. This guy Joe Rogan. Speaking of cult leaders. Oh, just drawing them. Okay.
That still doesn't answer the question.
What?
That they're if they're into drawing them, you have to ask the question why. Why are they into drawing them? You know, like came out of nowhere.
Right. That's a good point. I think the real issue is Michelle, is not heaven or hell. The issue is what's true and what's not true. That's the real issue.
Yeah.
And like I said in the previous song, I do not think fear is enough fuel to get us over the finish line.
Oh my God, no, it's not.
I think love is the fuel to get us over the finish line. So what I would say is, just like I said, let's just go through the Gospel of John together and see how you come out. Okay, guys, here we go. Song numero tres. Are you ready?
Yeah, my cord was just too twisted and it was...
Giants who walk with men. The cult of Jogan. Yeah, Joe Rogan could definitely become
he could have
a cult leader for sure. All right, here we go. Let's do this shit. Giants who walk among men. Toe Hider. I'm very excited for this because of the name of the band. Who names the band Toe Hider?
I know.
We got the right song? Oh. Doesn't he? Whoa! Shemiaza!
Yeah!
I knew where he was going. Love this guy's voice. Sounds like a dude from Maine. Oh, I know. He sounds like the singer from Iron Maiden. That last part.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm gonna pause this. Doesn't he sound like the dude from Iron Maiden? That last. I know.
Yes, he did. He did.
I'm gonna do this one part again though. Like when he does that last time, he sounds like the dude from Iron Maiden.
He really did. I agree.
Exactly like Maine right there.
Oh, of course, yeah. Holy
moly. No!
What? Again?
I don't know what's happening with the audio!
You've cursed it! I am even more confused by the album cover now. That is not what I expected at all from these people.
Why?
I pictured more some psychedelic stuff, and then it like the guys.
Maybe this happened during one of his trips. Maybe stereo microphone. Okay, we're back.
Hello.
We're back.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us now? Type 22.
It's fixed.
Okay.
I see that it's fixed. Okay. So there we go. Here we go. Okay, so this song is extremely interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so when it started, first I saw the album cover, so I had a certain assumption of what they were going to sound like. And then it started, did not sound at all like I was expecting. The guy's voice was very, very good.
Yeah, it's really good. I really enjoyed it.
He seemed very comfortable singing into the mic, which I was like, oh man, I can't wait to get to like be like that point, you know?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But yeah, and then the lyrics started in like when it got to the third line. Okay, coming from above, enamored with their beauty, the angels from the skies they took to the earth, and they. When I heard that part, I was like, wow, that kind of sounds like the. Mm-hmm. And then he kept going, and like, basically, this is exactly almost how I've heard you talk about it.
No, this is. I mean, he even mentioned Shemyaza.
I know.
I mean, that shit is crazy to me. Okay,
yeah.
So what are we talking about? Well, I have a Bible verse right here. When man began to multiply in the face of the land and the daughters were born to them, the sons of God, Benai Elohim, saw the daughters of men were attractive, and they took as their wives as any as they chose. So this right here is talking about, and as Vlad is talking about, demigods and like the Greek Titans. Mm-hmm. And so every major culture has this story of divine beings who come down, cohabit with women, create these sort of superhuman kind of giant type situations. Yeah. And it's fascinating because the Bible, obviously, like every other ancient Near Eastern document, has the same story. But what the Bible does is it adds a twist that is utterly unique in the in their time period. And the twist is that these beings were usually looked upon as heroes. So it's the term. Mm-hmm. So what happens is that you have divine beings or Benai Elohim. They come down, they cohabit with women, and then their offspring are basically half human, half divine warriors, essentially, who are celebrated. They're heroes. It says right there, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days. The Nephilim
men of renown. Is that what they said?
Yeah, it's right there. Right, they were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown.
Yeah, yeah.
So the Nephilim, which literally means the fallen ones, it actually has the same Hebrew root word for abortion. Actually, it's kind of interesting. But what's fascinating is that all the other stories have the Nephilim as being heroic. Like, for example, in the Greek mythology, you have Hercules. Mm-hmm. What is Hercules? Hercules is a combination of a human mother and Zeus, a divine father, who is he's superhuman, right. And he does all these exploits, and he's celebrated. Mm-hmm. What the Bible does is it says, no, those guys were actually bad. That's the remix. Everybody else is
one of those, right?
Well, Superman would be one of the Benai Elohim, right? Because he comes, he's a divine being already. He comes down and he cohabits with Lois Lane or whatever. I don't know what kind of child they have, but I'm assuming their child would be big time. Yeah, the Watchers. Yeah, and then here goes Perk. Go, Michael, and bind Shemyaza. And the others with him who have mated with the daughters of men, so that they were defiled by them by their uncleanness. So, yes, they became kings. But what's unique in the biblical literature and the Enochian literature is that they were bad. Mm-hmm. So that's the issue. The issue is they were cannibals. They ate people, and it actually, that's what he was referring to in the song when it's talking about.
They pounded skulls and drove us to the sea. They ripped the bones from flesh like bark from trees.
Yeah. because Enoch relates that's what they did. They were eating people. They were stalking people. I mean, it was just that is Enoch's understanding of why the flood had to happen. So the flood wasn't necessarily about people are being bad. They're bad, so we're gonna eliminate them. It was a specific issue. Was you've got these half divine, half human beings who are just wreaking all this havoc in the earth, and they're unstoppable. And so God just kind of resets the plate.
I know the Wackator. That's literally what I was thinking of.
Yeah, Attack on Titan. Yeah.
Literally what was in my head.
Yeah. And look, that it's mind-boggling to me that he did that song with such detail, because the main guy who convinced the other angels to do this, and he actually went down to Mount Hermon, which is crazy.
Yeah, that he was saying. Yeah,
he even talked about Mount Hermon, which is really interesting because Michael Heiser speculates. When he says, "You're Peter, upon this rock I'll build my church," that there's a historical debate upon this rock. Are you talking about Peter, because Peter means rock or pebble or whatever, and the Catholics are saying, see, that shows that Christ built the church on Peter, right? And then the Protestants say, no, upon this rock, Jesus is the rock, because he's called a rock, and Peter is a pebble, so he's saying on myself. And Michael Heiser goes, you're both wrong. They were standing on Mount Hermon, and he literally meant, upon this rock we're standing, I will build my church. Because Mount Hermon was the place where Shemyaza and those boys came down and did all that mess on the earth.
Wow.
So Jesus is saying, you guys were divine beings, but you were created beings. I'm the actual creator, and I'm coming down here in your territory, and I'm going to build my church in the middle of your territory. Wow. In the same place where you guys screwed everything up, I'm going to build a church on this exact rock where Shemyaza and those boys came down and fucked everything up for everybody. So,
well, that's interesting. Remember how when we were talking about how, like, Adam, Jesus is the second Adam, and so, like, Adam was in a garden, he didn't have any wild beasts, he had all the food he wanted, he still messed up. And then you have Jesus, who goes off into the wilderness, he has no food, he has no water, he's out with the wild beasts, he's not in a garden, like, he's dealing with the exact opposite, and he overcomes in those situations. So it seems like it's another one of those things where then he goes to Mount Hermon, and he does all of that, directly saying, like, this is what you did, but this is what I'm gonna do. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Perk doesn't agree with Michael Heiser. How dare you disagree with? How dare you disagree?
Why?
Well, Perk has always been more traditional, so maybe he wants to go with Peter as a rock. I'm not sure. That's the same thing with Canaan. And if you look at the routes with Canaan, all of those lands were basically Nephilim hotspots. So when you talk about, like, the kill list, kill this person, leave nothing alive, it's not talking about regular people. It's talking about a cleanup operation of the Nephilim, which is why after that period you don't see any of those commands. Once you get through the Canaanite conquest, there's no more commands to go and kill people.
Yeah.
Because they were the arm of God's judgment. But it's very, very fascinating. Again, Vlad, Gilgamesh is portrayed as having flaws, but he turned around. He's ultimately a hero in the story. What I'm saying is, if you look at the Enochian literature, these guys are universally looked upon as bad. They're terrible. They're the cause of the flood. They introduced cannibalism. Their parents introduced makeup and taught us how to do war and all the rest of it. They're looked upon as horribly evil. They're so evil that a lot of people believe that when you look to the New Testament and you see demons, that they're not fallen angels, that they are the actual disembodied spirit of the Nephilim that died in the flood. And because they were physical beings prior to their death, they're obsessed with inhabiting, a corporeal vehicle, because that's how they started. And so they're called unclean spirits, all types of things like that, which is very interesting because it's described in Enochian literature. What they did in Enochian is described as being unclean. It says right there. It says, Shemazi and the other ones made it with the daughter of men, and they defiled them in their uncleanness. So the act itself is unclean, and so then they gave birth to these children who were unclean, obviously, and so that's why they're called unclean spirits in the New Testament. So, but I'm blown away by how much detail
I know
he put into that song, because
I agree.
That's pretty ridiculous to me. Like, a secular band is like basically giving us a crash course on Enochian literature. So yeah, I genuinely thought that Gilgamesh, BC and I are unclean. Well, no,
BC's unclean because he hasn't showered since Sunday, he said.
Yeah, wow, and like I said, that's amazing. Now, what's fascinating is like when you talk about the UFO phenomena and people talking about, when they have these contacts with these beings, and they talk about the sexual sort of stuff, the genetic engineering, and they talk about star children and all this type of shit. Look, I think 99% of that stuff is weirdo silliness, but look, our government has just come out and said, look, this is a national security issue, and we do not know where these craft come from. So believe what you want.
It's weird.
Believe what you want or disbelieve what you want. But I was listening to a Lex Friedman show, and this guy was talking. I forgot the guy's name, but he's brilliant, and he was talking about UFOs, and he said, okay, if you were a being from another dimension or something, how would you reveal yourself? Well, to really, really, really primitive people, you would be the spirit in the forest, and then as human beings age and organize and develop religion, you're going to come down as a god. And now that we're in a post Christian Seats and Laban, now we're so scientific. So now they're manifesting themselves as, super intelligent beings with these crafts and everything. It's the same people, but they are revealing themselves in a way that we can comprehend. And so even though people are like, holy shit, these craft are defying the laws of physics and things like that, we're defaulting to look at all of this from a scientific perspective, because we think that that's the way to plumb all the mysteries of the earth, is a scientific method. It's just funny to me. And so because of that, if they were doing that kind of thing, it would make sense. I mean, that's what I would do. I wouldn't show up as some sort of angelic whatever.
Oh, no.
If I was in a situation where people, you know what I'm saying? So they're revealing themselves.
I'd watch them for a little bit and figure out.
Yeah.
And then I'd come in that form.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never heard him call himself a polytheist. I've never heard Michael Heiser call himself a polytheist. I've heard him call himself a henotheist, and I think Psalm 82 makes that very clear, that henotheism is a thing, especially in the Old Testament. I've never heard him call himself a polytheist, though. What is the name of this band? The name of this band is Toe Hider. Yeah, this is just, it's an unbelievably fascinating song.
The next song that we have is from them as well. So in that one's
the
called
name of the next song is This Conversation is Over.
So I'm very curious to see where this is going to go. Like, are these people religious, or did they just say, "Hey, this is a pretty friggin' cool story. Let's make this into a song." Like, what was their motivation? Like, why did they make this song? I would love to know.
Yeah. It's really interesting, because he even mentions Tartarus.
I know.
Which is interesting, because that's a hapax legomena in the New Testament. Peter specifically says that the angels who left their estate are in gloomy dungeons. You know gloomy dungeons? Mm-hmm. It's a word Tartarus in the Greek New Testament.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's that's hapax legomena. It's only used once in the entire Scripture, and he specifically says that they are in Tartarus, and it's fascinating because Enoch is sort of like this visionary who's able to phase between all these different worlds. And so these B'nai Elohim, these divine beings who mated with women, they got punished and sent to Tartarus. And so they go to Enoch and they say, ask God to, forgive us and forgive our children and all the rest of it, because we're suffering in Tartarus. So Enoch goes up there and says, hey, they feel bad. And God's like, are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. You guys stay in there forever, and I'm going to kill your kids in front of you. That was the flood. So it was just very, 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 very fascinating stuff.
Wow, that's crazy, because anytime that death happens, it's because God has done it. And so it's crazy to think that he said to them, I'm going to kill your kids in front of you, and they're not going to get what the children of God get when they die. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not going to walk around disembodied wanting to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, wow, that's pretty crazy.
Wackator says he might have grown up religious. He talks about it in other songs. Don't know who he is now. Yeah, I mean, look, man, you see those mushrooms? I don't know. People talk about being on that shit and meeting these beings. Maybe he
that's true, yeah.
Maybe he ran into a couple of those fellas in one of his DMT trips. Don't try this at home, kid. But yeah, I agree relative to original sin, sacramentology, free will. He tries to put everything into the Michael Heiser, everything into the Deuteronomy 32 worldview, I think he calls it. I think it is a major theme of Scripture, but I don't think that it is the central theme of Scripture. So I agree with that. Okay, I give this song a 9.7. I really, really like this song. This song is badass. It's really good.
9.8.
All right, guys, Toe Hider. There we go. Oh, you know what's funny? I just found something out here. I keep calling it Toe Hider. Is it Toe Hider or is it To Hide Her? Because if you look...
I know. Yeah. On that thing I just showed you.
See, right there, it doesn't have the E in it for toe. Later, Marie.
I think it's To Hide Her. But then it's over here. Look at their email address. Toe Hider.
I don't know. Maybe it's a play on words. Okay, guys. We shall return. We got more To Hider or Toe Hider on the way. Check us out. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone. Toe Hider has a song called To Hide Her. That's the album name. Okay. All right.
Yeah, right there. The first Toe Hider album, To Hide Her, is now available.
All right, guys. We shall return.